Hello learners, I am Dr. Subodh Kesharwani working with Indira Gandhi National Open University. The topic which I am going to talk today is collection of data, and we see that how much the data important is, and as far as the collection of data is concerned, that is a very important aspect because that is the reason the whole this particular session talks about the collection of how you are going to collect the data, because if you are not going to collect the data in a more systematic manner, I think what you are expecting from the end user, from the respondents, or as a researchers, what could be the final results, I think it must lacks with that. So when you are going to talk about this collection of data, I think there this role of data and the collecting of data is very important. And prior to going into the depth of this topic, as far as the collection of data is concerned, let's throw a light on what exactly this course is all about. This is part of our course called MCO3, Research Methodology and Statistical Analysis, which is a hardcore course on the methodology and statistical analysis we are going to use. And this is part of our MCOM program, and as far as this particular course is concerned, this is in second year. So we have already talked about, if we recapitulate like what we have done in our preceding sessions, and how this course is going to move. This is part of our first block, and first block totally talks about the preamble part of research, what exactly the research is, what are the genesis behind doing the research. And as far as the data collection is concerned, data is very important because the way we are technologically going up, the way technology changes, and this online penetration and more way of technological use, I think the data collection is becoming quite cumbersome right now. So when there was a time when the beginning stage, there were no source of getting the data because technology was not there and you are not familiar with many of the aspects. But right now, due to search engine and due to this the technological updations, the data is in big numbers. So that is the reason the whole world is right now talking about the big data. And when you are going to talk about the big data, you have to talk about the big data analytics. So big data analytics is a technological term which says that how you are going to regularize, how you are going to regulate the gigantic data which is available on the web. So whole world is right now moving from brick and mortar system to click and mortar systems, and we have seen that in a coming years, the more their usage of technology. So anyway, what we have observed, that we have covered in our preceding sessions about research, then research thought. What is the research thought? FAQs, we have massively talked about certain questions which as a researcher comes in the mind of the researcher. So we have thrown a light on that, and we try to answer those questions. We have framed those questions, and if you go through the preceding sessions, you will find out that lot of frequently asked questions were there, which comes in the mind of the researchers when they are just the grassroots researchers, or they have started the research, or in due course this kind of format is going to come. So we are going to answer about those questions. Then research methodology is there. Research methodology talks about what methods you are going to use, and then we have used the case study method. So interview. So what is the purpose of methodology? The methodology purpose is to find out, or extract the information from the respondent. So if you see in the backdrop, in the genesis behind the research is talking about the data only. So when you're going to talk about the data, the collection of data comes. How are you going to collect data? What methodology you're going to adopt? What pedagogy you're going to use? If you're going to collect the wrong data, you lands up at the wrong results. If you are collect a data which could be quite useful to you, you get a very good result. So, and how you're going to find out which data is useful, which data is not useful, when you are going to go for the primary data, when you are going to go for the secondary data, what are the the subheads which comes under the secondary data, and what are the ways by which you are going to collect the primary data, as well as there are certain ways. So we are definitely going to talk about all those things. And then formulation of objectives, how the objectives comes, because from where the objective originates, like when we massively go through the literatures, from there the gap comes, that gaps give you the objectives, and that objectives give you the hypothesis which you have already talked about. And then research design, how you're going to design your research, because how you're going to bifurcate your research so that within particular time frame you're going to accomplish your task. So this we have already covered. It's almost 8 to 9 lectures we have talked about this particular term, the theme of research and data collection. So now, as far as this particular unit is concerned, this is a chapter 3. This is a chapter 3 of this particular course, which talks about how you're going to collect the data, collection of data. Because when you're going to go for the collection of data, it's not like that you can just start collecting. There must be certain ways. So you have to understand what could be the nature of data, how the data looks like, whether sometimes you have to depend on the secondary data which is already known as the existing data, and that data from where you are going to get from electronic resource, you are going to get from archives or the past research. So but it's not like that you can just get those data and use it, because if you are going to use the same data, I think there is chances of plagiarism. So in our coming session we will definitely talk about the ethical issues. So how much data you are going to take, how much data you are going to eliminate, and what are the ways by which you are going to take the data. This collection of data purely talks about this thing. So though it's a very simple affair, it's a very easy affair, that but when you are going to talk about the easy thing, I think the tough thing comes into that, because if every time you talks about when the things are very easy for you to extract, I think you have to apply certain tools and techniques by which you can get more number of information. So primary and secondary data, sources of secondary data, what are the ways of the secondary data you can take, like electronic resource, and precaution in using a secondary data. Because when you're talking about this is a very important aspect, because if you are not cautious, you can lead to a wrong information or either redundant information. So because secondary data is the data which already had been already exist, and already someone had done the work and put it on the web, or put it on the in a manuscript format for the future researchers or future learners. So when these future learners use that secondary data, and if they are not meticulous in finalizing the same, I think from there the plagiarism or the ethical issues come. So we will definitely throw a light on plagiarism and other ethical issues in our forthcoming sessions. But here we are just building block, and we are just finding out the ways by which the data is going to be collected. Then what are the merits and demerits of secondary data, and then the methods of collecting primary data. So this whole collection of data bifurcate into primary data and secondary data. Primary data believes in the first hand information which you usually gathered or collected from the respondents through certain means, by making questionnaires and certain methodologies like observation method, interview method, and through local reporters and correspondents, and questionnaire schedule method, which I have already talked about. And what are the choice of suitable method, when you are going to apply, when. So it's there must not be any there is not any rocket science that you can start with that model. It all depends the literature which you have read, and it's all depends how you are going to initiate your research. Sometimes there are certain secondary data which is an important ingredient as far as your research is concerned. But if you are going to take that data as it is, I think the problem is going to be occur. So you have to be quite meticulous, you have to be quite systematic while taking all those things into consideration. So anyway, we start with the need for data structure, because when we talk about the data structure, it's data structure of organized data. There are unorganized data, there are organized data. When you talk about the organized data are considered to be more real time in nature, more systematic, and it can give you the more fruitful results. So it's more powerful, and more complex applications are there when you're talking about the organized data. And what we observe that there are certain applications which are more complex in nature, and it demand more calculation. So there you are using the statistical tools, the SPSS softwares, and from there you can extract the information. So what I mean to say that if you talk about the data structure is meant to be organization for a collection of data items, and any organization for collection of records can be searched, processed in any order or modified. So time to perform and programming effects. So these are the things which are going to play a very important role, and this data science prerequisites is very important, because this data science is nothing but how the science behind collecting the data or using the data affects. So when you are going to talk about the usage of science and data, I think you have to adhere to three important ingredients, that is statistics, mathematics and programming knowledge. Because programming knowledge talks about the technology which we are going to use, the statistical tool which we are going to use, either it could be Excel, Python, R, SQL or SPSS, or there are certain tailor-made customized softwares are there which are facilitating in extracting or collecting the data. Then mathematics are there, which can be linear algebra, calculus. And when you're talking about in statistics, I think statistics is quite important, because as far as our research is concerned, it starts with the basic chapter, then you have research methodology, and then data interpretation is there, or data analytics are there. This data analytics is nothing but whatever the first hand information or the secondary data information which we have gathered or collected need to be used in such a manner that it can lead you to a first hand results. And when you're getting those first hand results, which could be mind boggling in nature, or you with the help of this hypothesis and different questionnaire format, I think you lands up at a very good conclusion, which could be quite innovative in nature, and rather we can say it could be a first hand data. So, and these first hand data come up with a very different results, and these results are very useful for the corporate houses if they had been designed for that, or for researchers also to build their research for the future purpose. So this inferential statistics talks about that use of certain tests or certain technologies, where descriptive statistics believes in the stereotype way of doing the research with the help of this measure of central tendency or measure of dispersion, whereas inferential statistics believes in t-test or ANOVA test and other things. So it is based on the sampling model, and where you don't have to do the holistic research or holistic application of ways, but you can you can choose a universal, and from that you can make certain samples. And when you are randomly working on that small portion of that sample and try to work through that particular sampling model, and from there you try to create an image of that universal. That is where inferential statistics is very important. So statistics always believes in inferential statistics and descriptive statistics. This descriptive statistics is a stereotype way of applying the statistics in collection of data, whereas inferential statistics is a more advanced version, and it talks about the certain test or the certain tools which are there which can lead to a result, because there are certain constraints. Because when you are going for a pan-India research, and it's really cumbersome for the researchers to physically visit all the domains of India and come to the conclusion. So in that case, what happened? They will have a procedure of sampling techniques where the universal is India, but they are going to collect the data from few states or and few cities of that particular state. So in that case, there is a holistic view of this particular thing, but with the help of this sampling. So with the help of this sampling, we can able to interpret, able to come to the conclusion that the universal is more or less that kind of. So anyway, what I mean to say, that need of data warehouse is there, because when we are going to talk about the data warehouse, we have to talk about the data mining, we have to talk about the different ways by which the big data analytics, because there are some data which can be useful for today purpose, there are some data which can be useful for tomorrow purpose. So when you are going to have archives of data, when you are going to have a data warehouse, very easily you can bifurcate your data, and you can keep the historical data, strategic decisions data consistency and response time, and then business users. You can see how the data is going to be used as per the convenience. So what I mean to say that and these data warehouse, the data archive, or the modus operandi of keeping the data need to be done by the researcher itself. So we have heard about the Maslow's need of hierarchy when we are studying the human resource paper, So in the same manner, there is a hierarchy of data needs of data science. So how you're going to keep the data? The first, if you see at the bottom of the pyramid, it starts with the collection of data, which is instrumentation, logging, sensors, and user generated contents are there, and then you start moving or storing the data in a different format, and then explore and transform the data, then aggregate and label the data, and learn how to optimize the data. Because optimization is when you're going to talk about optimization leads to something where there's no opportunity cost. So if there could be any alternative to that, I think you can't lead to optimization. So optimization always, if you see in the present scenario, if you talk about the data science, it talks about the experimentation or the machine learning or algorithm which we are going to use, the mathematical philosophy which we are going to use. There was a time when mathematics or algorithm was just emphasized or apply to the scientist or the scientific things, but right now in social science also, in humanities or in various aspects, we have seen that there is a great use of this optimization model and learning techniques. So then at the top we have deep learning, and then we have artificial intelligence. So what I mean to say that with the change of time, the collection of data is also going to change. There was a time when data collection was done in a very stereotyped manner, and no use of statistics, no use of technology. But today, since the gigantic data is there, the shape of the data is quite bigger. I think there we have a great use of this model. And what we have observed, that if you are going more into the depth of this primary data collection and secondary data collection, if you talk about the primary data, we have already mentioned that the primary data starts with framing the questionnaire, and if you go into the backdrop and find out how you're going to get how you're going to make the questionnaire, it's come from hypothesis, and this hypothesis comes from objectives come from gap, and gaps come from literature review. So this is the way by which the things are coming. So this is the data that you gather yourself through methods of investigation. Quantitative data is there, then qualitative data is there. When you talk about the quantitative data, it is measurement, that is measurement of river velocity, and when you're talking about the qualitative data, is observation that you make, environmental score, or anything which have a numeric, anything which you make through this, like environmental score, those are likely to be subjective in nature, anything which is more subjective in nature. Whereas when you're talking about the secondary data, this is to inform you that it's come from various sources like electronic resource, or the past archives, or somebody had done the research, you are going to make a sequel of that and you are endorsing it. But there must be a proper methodology, there must be a proper way which can work as a way to collect the data. It could be from books, it could be from maps, it could be from website, it could be from journals, or the resources. So primary information is a field research, and secondary information is a desk research. This is, I think, a best difference, because when you are going to do a research, or when you are going to start your research, I think it had a combination of desk research and field research. It starts with a literature review. We have always seen that any good research starts with a literature, because literature can give you boundaries. Literature can give you a universal, that your journey is going to be restricted to this particular scenario or to the particular aspect. And then the moment you have gone through the literatures, n number of literature, then you start narrow down yourself. The moment you have condensed yourself and you have lands up to the particular situation, I think from there the things are going to be start. And this desk research is more article oriented, books oriented, newspaper oriented, internet oriented, or some blogs are coming up, the online materials are coming up. So these online materials are somewhat giving an edge, that how the trends are going to be changed. Because when you talk about the secondary information, maybe it could be primary for when it had been initiated. So this primary research is going to mug up by you, and then from there you initiate certain information. So this is the way by which the things are going to be done. And when you're going to talk about the primary information, it is questionnaire and surveys, observations, consumer trials, hall tests and focus groups. So consumer trials, like if consumer had bought any product, what they exactly feel about the product. So right now the whole world is changing with the change of time, and we are moving from this brick and mortar system to click and mortar systems. And when consumer buy any product, they put the information on this particular portal about that respective product, and the intention is very clear. They put their experiences, either it could be negative in nature or positive in nature, but they want to float the information, and these information are considered to be the first hand information, which can be useful for the company to recapitulate their product, and it is good for the users to see what is the credibility of the product. If they are having a good experience, they can share that, and if they have a bad experience, they can also share that. So being a consumers, one can go through all those aspects, and these are the reviews or consumer opinions are playing very vital role, where there is more penetration of online buying and selling. Like let's take a case of the hotel industry. What we have observed, that in the case of this hotel industry, that travelers visit the particular hotels, and they give their experience on the website, either uploading some images, some bad experience, some good experiences. Now these experiences are archived or stored in this particular portal. So if anybody do the or book the hotels, they first see the reviews, which could be in the form of stars, for 3 star, 4 star, 5 stars. But on the other hand, they visit, they go through elaborately on the reviews, which can be in the text format, in the pictorial format, or sometimes in the video format, in a video verdict format. So it could be quite useful, which is a real time in nature, and give the clear picture about the hospitality services, or the way they are entertaining their consumers. So this is the model. So now what happened, there was a time when people were brand loyal towards the product, and they are very adhered to that, they are very restrict to that. But after certain time, the things had been changed. The shelf life of the company is now reducing day by day. There was a time when shelf life of the company was 50 years or 40 years, but right now it is 10 to 5 years. So new brands, new companies are coming up with new thoughts. A company which never existed decades back, but right now stands at number one place. And how they come up? It's due to the reviews. It's the positivity by the consumers. So now what happened? And those new consumers are not acclimatized with the particular product, but they go through the reviews, and from these reviews they come to know that that particular brand is doing quite well and could be useful for us. So a brand like Alexa, or the Google Assistant, or Siri, which is a voice recognition based things. So if I am fond of any song, and I can just communicate to that particular device, that please connect to me that particular song. So if so this way by which the software is, artificial intelligence is doing that. So this kind of product is coming up, which exists no more in the past decades. But what we have observed, that how the things had been changed. So keeping in mind all those things, the new taste, new trend is coming up. So when you are going to talk about this consumer trials, when you are going to talk about the new kind of approach, I think from there the certain change is going to come. So this is the difference between primary and secondary data sources. This primary pipeline, then you have hypothesis, and when you have hypothesis, you have null hypothesis, you have accepted hypothesis, alternate hypothesis which can be accepted or rejected. Then the data collection model is there, which lead to visualization. So then you have hybrid primary secondary data. What I mean to say, when you're talking about hybrid is a term which is a very omnipresent term in the present scenario. The whole world is talking about hybrid right now, and Industry 4.0, if you see, it purely talks about that how in automobile industry you find out the car is going to be replaced by the electric cars, or the car which is equipped with fuel and electric both. So, and on the other hand, it could be more technological enabled, more humanless, model is there. So it's not occur in this product or the physical appearance thing, but in service industry also. In education, we have seen that the learning is going to be changed. The hybrid way of learning is coming up, where the learners are opting, the different approaches, the blended learning model, this face-to-face model, or the combination of both. So when you're going to talk about the hybrid model, it's a combination of primary and secondary data. There was a time when good research considered to be good research when it is equipped with the primary way. But today's scenario talks about updations. Today's scenario talks about the how you're going to present your things. So it's not like that if you have massively used the secondary work, your research can dismantle by that. It's not like that. If you have collected the secondary data in a more meticulous manner, more strategical manner, I think that can also be considered as a primary data, because the data size is quite bigger in the present scenario, and if you're going to use the data, extract the particular information, I think that is the way very easily you can do that. So hybrid way of is a combination of primary and secondary data usage, how you're going to collect the data, but intention is very clear. It leads to visualization. How the end results comes. End results is nothing but a visualization. How it can be used or apply or can be fruitful for the common man, because the end result is a visualization which starts with the data creation, then hypothesis, then data collation. Data collation talks about that the data which you have collected from the primary sources, that is through questionnaires, through hypothesis, through respondents, you just accumulate that, and there are certain information which you gathered from the current resources. Could be electronic, could be book, could be that, and then you correlate all those things and then lead to visualization. Then the secondary pipeline is data collection and hypothesis, which we have already talked about. So online is sources of information is a database, e-journals, e-books, newspaper, and institutional repositories. There are virtual libraries which are coming up. There was a time when we devote a lot of time in libraries and majority of time wasted in finding out the books. But right now, due to this, thanks to the search engine, we can very easily just put the title and get a lot of results. A lot of open source model is there. A lot of open source articles are available, which is freely available. So less restricted access and more usage of open source or open articles. So the institutional repository is coming up. Let's take an example of Indira Gandhi National Open University. We have a institutional repository called eGyan Kosh, and if you talk about the contents, the study material which I am talking about is available on the eGyan Kosh portal. If you go to that particular portal, you will find out that in School of Management Studies, these are the programs which are running, and if you go to that particular program, you lead to a particular course, and from there this breakup of the chapters will come or the unit will come. So these are the institutional repositories which are there. Shodh Ganga is one of the platform which had been created by University Grant Commission, and so this Shodh Ganga is a repository of the dissertation thesis or the doctoral thesis, and if you want to initiate your research, you can just explore many of the information from the Shodh Ganga portal, and this could be quite useful for the learners, because it's a one-stop portal and give the complete information of that particular thing. So online resource and online sources is changing with the change of time. It's making it's following the user-friendly approach. So precaution while using secondary data. So one has to quite cautious while using secondary data, because there are certain challenge. When you are more using the secondary data, you are deviating yourself, and it leads to a research which is quite secondary in nature and somewhat overlap with the past researchers. So that is the reason the researcher used to emphasize always that there must be less usage of secondary data. The purpose of the secondary data is to just gather the information or extract the information, like how could be your journey is. But as far as the movement is concerned, you have to adhere to the primary way of doing the thing. So primary data is basically based on the respondent's mode, where respondent used to reciprocate, and whatever the basic impression you have about the thing, you keep in one side, but whatever the the reciprocations come from the respondents, you try to incorporate and accumulate, the varieties of information that come from the respondents. So the intention is very clear. So suitable purpose of investigation, you have to see that what exactly you are gathering from secondary data. If it is used for the investigation purpose, is fine, and there are certain secondary data which are available in the form of advertisements. So if you try to talk more about this particular thing, it's quite biased in nature, because advertisement used to be company centric and more talking about the good points about the company, or rather we can say it's a company based testimonials. So one has to avoid all those things. Then inadequate data, there are certain data which can be adequate, which can be inadequate, because with change of time, when somebody have done a research almost 2 decades back, it could be a hot cake, and if you talk in the present scenario, it had no weightage so like take example of a banking industry. If somebody had done a research almost a decade back in net banking, the net banking was a hot cake. Like nobody, there were some banks which were equipped with the net banking, and there were some banks which were not not familiar with the net banking phenomena. So the research which was quite common in those days, that how the net banking is going to facilitate the consumers as far as the research is concerned. If you do the similar kind of research in the present scenario, I think it's a common phenomena, the routine matter, because right now every bank is equipped with the net banking model, whereas the virtual branches is coming up. So maybe there are certain banks which are equipped with the virtual branch. There are some banks which are not familiar with those kind of phenomena. So if somebody had started doing a research in the virtual branches, and how these virtual branches are better than the stereotype branches or conventional branches, this could be the one of the latest topic which could be there. So one has to see the data which need to be taken care, what data need to be taken care, what data not, and redundancy ratio is quite high as far as the research is concerned. So you have to see the obsolete topic and try to eliminate all those topics. So degree of accuracy, how much accuracy is there, a degree of accuracy is there when you are going to collect the data, because the degree of accuracy comes with what could be your universal and what could be your sample. In our coming slides, when we are going to talk about the sampling, we have to see that, because accuracy is very important, because if you have taken universal as a pan India, or the Delhi as a pan Delhi, your research revolves around Delhi. I think Delhi is bifurcated into 4 zones: north, south, east and west, and the mindset of each zone differs from other zones. The South Delhi people have got a different bent of mind. The North Delhi have got a different approach. There are certain zones which are very adjacent to the NCRs, like Gurgaon, Noida, Faridabad. So if you are going to do your research, or if you are not going to take care those particular zones and just talking about the Delhi as a whole, and confine your research to South Delhi or East Delhi, I think you are not going to get the holistic view. So to get the holistic view, or to get the accurate result, you have to consider all the 4 zones. And when you are going to start your research, I think it's very cumbersome for you to move all the zones and cater the particular domains which falls under that zones. So in that case, what is going to be done, that your universal is whole Delhi, but your sample could be from all these 4 zones, and going much into the deeper and deeper, and find out there are certain, because if you talk about the south zones, again in south zones there are people who are elite class, there are people who are living in Jhuggi and Jhopli, or there are people who are middle class, or there are people who are of different nature. So how you are going to collect the data, that is more important, because time and condition of collection of facts is very important, and when you are going to collect, it all depends what kind of topic you have chosen and what could be the shelf life. If your shelf life of the product is shelf life of your research is 3 years, I think you have to bifurcate your research in such a manner that within 3 years, within 1.5 years or 2 years, you can able to accomplish your research. So comparison, then test checking, then homogeneous conditions are there. There are certain conditions which are homogeneous in nature. There are certain conditions which are heterogeneous in nature. There are certain conditions which are against the tide or with the tide. You have to see all those conditions, and then you have to do the things. Comparison is also very important, because if you are going to compare certain things and then do the things, then it can. So these are the precautionary measures which is very important. And methods of collecting data, I think when you are going to collect the primary data, a lot of other ways had come up apart from the questionnaire, but intention is very clear that genesis behind the questionnaire collection is that you get the first hand information from the respondents. And it could be by any other mode. It could be phone survey, it could be online survey, it could be interviews, but intention should be very clear that whatever the information is going to be collected, it could be collected from the original respondents, and it should not be proxy in nature. If you are, because there is a chances that if you go for the online survey, someone else had reciprocate on behalf of that particular respondent. So how you are going to eradicate, how you are going to narrow down these problems, because you are not in touch with those particular respondents. But when because the research or the results deviate, or when you get the wrong results, or you get when the wrong person reciprocates. So methods of collecting primary data is going to play a very important role. And with the change of time, with the change of technology, I think this primary data collection changes, but intention is very clear that it could be a first-hand information which can be floated in the way of questionnaires. And there was a time when questionnaire was of 3 to 4 pages, or maybe 30 to 40 questions. But with this technology, the companies or the researchers have bifurcated their modus operandi, and they are collecting the information in chunks. So the first chunk talk about the name, email, mobile, or the basic information. Then some other information are collected at a different stage. Then some open-ended questions are there which need to be answered in a more elaborative manner, and some close-ended questions are there which need to be answered in a different way. So it had a combination of close and open. So what is the intention? The intention is very clear that we have to keep the morale of the respondents high, because if their morale is high, they can give the results, and certain time need to be there. And now the time had been changed where we believe in text-based information. Then visual effects are there, or the what we can say graphical information is going to be gathered. And then finally the video based there, where one can work through interviews, so which is quite good in nature, in depth. So if you see this primary and secondary sources, I think this is something which is going to give us a clear picture about that how the data is going to be collected by and how if you see this primary, I think primary is again bifurcated into qualitative and quantitative. We have little bit thrown a light on qualitative and quantitative, but this talks about if you talk about the primary data, the qualitative collection could be open-ended, informal, unstructured, or interviews, open-ended questionnaires. When you talk about the open-ended questionnaires, it could be more elaborative questions, and it could vary from one respondent to other. And what other one respondent reciprocates, other cannot. Like the example which I have talked about, the hotel industry. When you have a question like yes and no, like whether you are happy with the hospitality of the hotels, you have two choices. Either you have to say yes or no. It's fine. One can either satisfied or not satisfied. But if you have an open-ended question, in that case, what happened? He or she is going to write the real life incidents which is shared by. So it varies from the individual to individual. So what I mean to say, as far as the quantitative thing is concerned, could be experiments, social surveys, structured questionnaires, formal structured interviews, and non-participant observation. So in secondary sources, the qualitative other sources, mass media, official statistics, and other way of doing the things is there. So what I mean to say, when you are going to collect the data, I think the data collection could be through two modes we have already talked about, that is primary and secondary. But role of the questionnaire is very important. We have seen that there were some good researchers and they have done a very good research. They have started the research in a very good manner. The questionnaire is ultimate, but what happened? It's quite lengthy in nature, which sometimes deteriorate the morale of the respondents. So you have to have a question in such a manner that it can boost the morale of the respondents. And how what questions you are going to ask, it also matters. If you're talking about the banking industry or doing the research for the consumers, you can't ask the password of the question. You can't ask the password of the consumers in this particular questionnaire. So there are certain ethical issues, there are certain unethical issues which need to be taken care. A question is a research instrument consisting of a series of questions for the purpose of gathering information from respondents. The questionnaire was invented by the Statistical Society of London in 1838. This was the model by which the research had been initiated, and we are much emphasizing on the primary data. So it's not like that primary data collection was not there. It was there, but it was not so much meticulous. So with this change of time, with the change of statistics, when the statistics had been introduced as a full-fledged paper for the commerce graduate, for the science graduate, or for the other, the graduates, this role of question is going to play a very important role. So examples, characteristics, types, and designs are there, and this is a new way of collecting the questionnaires, where you see that when any commerce portal provide you any product and want to know the opinion about the product, they ask from the consumers in such a manner. And even right now, the survey or questionnaire filling is a routine matter right now. Even it's not like that you can buy the product and it's related to your order. It's related to the delivery also. And we have seen that when the delivery boy comes at our home and deliver the product, he always requests that you get one small link, and if you click on that link, just mention about how was the delivery experience. So what I mean to say that there was a time when collection of primary data was confined to the product only, but right now it is applied for every juncture, for delivery, for after sales, or how much you are good with the product. Even what happened when online companies sold the product, and there is a refund policy procedure, and there is a procedure that you can return the product within certain time frames, say 7 days or 10 days. Now what we observe that after 7 days or 10 days, you have not returned your product and you are using the product. After a month or two, you find that one more the link comes. So this is the way by which the things are going to be there. And when you are talking about choice of suitable method, there are various factors to consider when choosing a data collection method. And as such, the researcher must judiciously select the methods for his own study, keeping in view the following factors. The method selected should be such that it suits the type of inquiry that is to be conducted by the researchers. So what I mean to say, there is no rocket science behind that, because there was a time when we talked that the primary research considered to be a best research if you compare with the secondary data. But right, how suitable you are using the data. So if you are acquainted with, if you are comfortable with the different mode, because today consumer is changing with the change of time, and the size of the consumer, the mindset of the consumer is also changing. I think I have talked a lot about this particular model called collection of data, which is a very important ingredient, because the data is a backbone of any research. And as far as the statistics is concerned, as far as technology is concerned, we know that it starts with the data and end to data. So wrong data leads to wrong results, and right data leads to right results. So in technology also, we believe in garbage in, garbage out model, which talks about that this is the way by which this things are going to be changed. And so we, in our coming sessions, we will definitely talk about some more terms which are going to be useful for the researchers, because this is purely a course which talks about research methodology and statistical analysis, and there are certain terms which are changing with the change of time. There were certain terms which were omnipresent in the past, but their definition, their style of working, their modus operandi also change. So what we have observed that somewhere there is a great use of secondary data, and on the other hand there is a great use of primary data too. But you can't say that primary data is more useful, secondary data is not useful. The utility of the secondary data and primary data always go in the manner, you run a car, because one is the front wheel, other is the back wheels. Thank you very much. In our next session we will definitely talk some more terminologies related to statistical analysis.